I'm Stephanie DeLussey, a dual certified special education teacher with over a decade of experience. Today I'll be debunking some of the internet's biggest myths about special education. Accommodations are cheating. This is something as a special education teacher that is so infuriating and heartbreaking. I've heard it from all seats at the table, not just parents, but other educators as well, that they believe accommodations are students cheating, and that just simply is not the truth. Accommodations aren't about making it easier, they're about making it possible. If a student needs a ramp, you don't test them on taking the stairs. Because this is a myth that simply will not die, this is why advocacy and understanding are so important. So know your rights, speak up for those rights, and help your child do the same. Being in special education classes means you're stupid. This could not be further from the truth. Just because someone thinks or learns differently does not mean that they're not intelligent. Special education services give your child the tools to be successful. This might be one of the most detrimental myths that we hear within special education, and I can stand for my students and say that they are some of the smartest students that I have ever met in my life. This is why it's so important for us to work together, because we don't want our kids thinking that they're incapable. We want them to feel smart, capable, and loved so that they can reach their true potential. Will an IEP affect my child's chances for college or future opportunities? IEPs are built for further education, employment, and independent living. And what that means is your child is receiving the supports and services that they need so they can go to college, join the military, go to trade school, start a business, and be successful in school and opportunities after school. If you're worried that a college or a future employer is going to find out that your child had an IEP, know that they're not able to unless you or your child disclose this. Just know that there is the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA, that protects your child from such discriminations. A good IEP is going to break down the barriers and level the playing field for your child, but also teach them the self-advocacy skills they're going to need later in life. In fact, the only way I see this impacting your child is positively. Will my child be labeled forever if they get special education services? An IEP is a plan, it is not a label. While your child will receive a disability label for eligibility purposes of receiving special education services, it is merely to help them receive the supports that they need to be successful and learn. An IEP means lower expectations. An IEP does not mean lower expectations or that students are cheating or receiving extra help because they can't do it. Students are receiving special education services because they need the extra supports to help them access their learning. IEPs don't lower expectations. In fact, they actually level the playing field for your child as they're still expected to meet those high expectations. Special education is only for academic problems. Wrong. Special education services cover a wide range of areas, not only including academics like reading, writing, math, spelling, but also things like executive functioning, social skills, behavior, life skills, sensory needs, communication, emotional needs. It doesn't just start and stop with academics. On top of that, if your child has medical needs, it may be covered under an IEP. If not, your child may qualify for a 504 plan. Special education is a place. No, it's not. A lot of people think that special education is the classroom that your child is in, but I'm here to tell you that it's not. Special education is the service or services that your child is receiving. Those IEP goals, that explicit instruction, the accommodations, the modifications, all that related service provider time with the speech pathologist, the occupational therapist, the physical therapist. Anything that is in your child's IEP is what's going to help them access the general education content curriculum. That is special education. Oh, by the way, what myths have you heard about special education? Let us know in the comments below. A diagnosis automatically means an IEP. A medical diagnosis for a disability is not the same as what the school professionals are going to give, which is eligibility for special education services. You can't get a prescription for an IEP for your child, but having that medical diagnosis is a great starting place for you if you're noticing that your child is having difficulties in school. Have those conversations with school professionals to get the IEP process started. Parents have to wait for a school to suggest an evaluation. No, you don't. Parents, you know your child better than anyone else. And while we teachers see a lot of things in the schools and can help your child at school, we don't see your child once they go home with you. If you notice that your child is struggling, we want to know. Please reach out to us because we can help you start the IEP process. Kids who are doing well don't need help. Many students who get good grades or behave well in school are often flying under the radar. They're masking, they're overcompensating to keep up with their peers, or they're going home and breaking down at the end of the school day. On the other hand, just because your child has bad grades doesn't mean they'll qualify for an IEP. Grades are only one data point in the fully comprehensive evaluation that your child will receive for special education services. This is why it's so important for parents and educators to work together, because what happens outside of the classroom is such a vital piece to how we can help support you in and out of the classroom. Kids outgrow special education. While some of our children will outgrow special education services, some of them won't. Special education services are based on student need. And as your child learns and grows, your child's IEP should learn and grow with them. What's important to remember here is that if your child needs an IEP, that's okay. And if they no longer need their IEP, that's okay too. There's a best accommodation. While there are a lot of accommodations that are high impact and will work for a lot of children with disabilities, that's not to say that there's one best accommodation that's gonna work the best for your child. The accommodation that works best for your child is the one that helps them access their learning. Does special education mean my child won't be included with their peers? Quite the opposite. Per the IDEA, this means that your child is going to be educated with their same-aged peers in the general education classroom whenever possible. There's a reason people believe this myth, and that's because children with disabilities historically have been educated outside of the general education classroom. Since the passing of the IDEA, we've seen a lot of positive progress for students with disabilities. In fact, the majority of them are now educated in the general education classroom with their peers with supports. Have a question about ADHD that we didn't cover? Try asking the Understood Assistant, a free chat tool on understood.org. It'll give you those quick answers you're looking for and customized tips based on expert-vetted resources. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe to our channel for more ADHD content like this.